Hey everyone, welcome back to Evony with Genghis. I want to go over something that this is a question that I get all the time. It's always in my Discord every week it seems like, every couple of weeks because there's new servers and people always need this information. And to be honest, I don't even know it all the time. So there is a great fact sheet for this. It's in my Discord if you want to join. Description to do so is in my Discord. There's also an Aptoide code going around right now. It has, I believe, 5 more days left, which is awesome. Extra 5%. It is across the top of the screen right now. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about buffs and which ones work and when do they work. So I'm just going to show you a couple examples of stuff and then we'll get to the sheet. So if we go down here, increase siege machine defense when attacking. Okay, when's that work, right? Like everything's an attack. What else do we got here? Increase siege and ground attack and reduce enemy siege machine defense by 30% when attacking. Okay, then we're going to have some in rally buffs somewhere here. So when joining Alliance War, these buffs. Now we're going to look into the tavern and there's some new generals and they have really weird buffs. So luckily there's some players out there that put a lot of work into this, a lot of testing. I know Derek Defies does a lot of this stuff, trying to figure out when buffs do apply. So right here, when general is leading the army to defend outside the main city, increases ground troop or track troop defense when general is leading the army. That's another confusing one. Like, when are you leading the army? When aren't you leading the army? If you're the assistant, are you leading the army? Don't get too confused with the words leading the army. It basically just means, like, are you a part of it? But then these ones, ground troop, ground troop, ground troop. When do those apply? So there's all sorts of different buffs going around. Let's take a look at, let's find a defense general. So we got Joey Johnson, who no one would remember unless you've been playing this game more than, what is it, about 3 years ago they changed his name to George Dewey. Because what was he? Was he a racist, Joseph Johnson? Something like that. Anyways, in city. And in city, when he's the main defense general. Okay, so we've seen a lot of different buffs now that I've showed you. A lot of different types. Now, let's go to when they work, when they don't work. So some of them are going to be very basic and very easy to look at. Like if we just look at this and we look at Roland, attacking, mounted troop, and ground troop. So that one's not that easy. But this one, mounted troop, mounted troop, mounted troop. If it says anything like that, that's just basic. That's what we're going to consider it. It works all the time. So if we go here, this one, ground, 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 siege, siege, siege. There's no words in front, no attacking, no marching. Those are going to work all the time. So let's go over to this sheet. And I'm going to turn the phone sideways just so you guys can get a full view of it like this. Now I'm going to go back to mobile view in a second. I just want to leave it here in case anyone wants to screenshot this. And now we're going to go back to mobile view. I know that most of my viewers do tend to watch this on a mobile device. And if you do want to comment in the video and let me know, hey, I watch this on my laptop, on my computer at work. You know what? I do too. I was actually surprised a couple years ago. Massive amount of people were like, hey man, I watch this on mobile. So that's why my videos are mostly fixed for a mobile device. Once in a while I do make it landscape view. So attacking solo. So first thing we need to look at here is basic buff. So what we have here, we basically have a chart, right? A graph, but we're going left to right and top to bottom. And left to right is all the types of buffs. Top to bottom is the type of troop movements. And then there's an X if it works during this occasion. So attack solo. Let's look first at basic buff. Basic buff works every single time you can look at, right? So that's what I just looked like. Ground, 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 siege, 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 archer, archer, archer. There's no words in front of it. Those are going to work all the time. Marching buff works almost all the time. It's a pretty good buff to have if you're gonna have it. And the only time it doesn't work is if you're defending your own city or if you're reinforcing an alliance member's city. Every other time it works. Now, the reason for this is you're marching, right? So your troop is marching somewhere. He's on the move. He's not stationary in a city. So when he is in another city, it doesn't work, or he's in your city. It's a little bit odd because you would think he did march to a teammate's city, but Evony's wording on this, let's just blame that. Evony really should have more consistency on the wording and how this does work. They should actually just tell us in the game too. I've asked them before in developer calls, why do you not make the English translations more simple? And they just refuse. I don't know why. So in city buff, when do those work? Well, they're going to work anytime you're in a city. So they're not going to work when you're in like Constantinople. That doesn't count as a city. It should, though. It should act as a special thing. So anyways, it's going to work when you are in your own city. It's also going to work when you're reinforcing an alliance member's city. So that means some of these defense generals where it says in city, you could actually use them as good reinforcing generals. So maybe you had a defense general that said in city and you outgrew that general, you developed further, or they just became obsolete. You might have a purpose for them now. So now, defense buff. So these were ones that would say while defending. And where would they work? They would work defending your own city, defending buildings or relics, reinforcing buildings or relics, and reinforcing a teammate's city. It has a question mark there. I guess maybe further testing is needed, but I would have to assume that it does work there. Now, outside defense buff, those are basically the brand new generals, Frida and Aidan, and they work defending, reinforcing, and reinforcing. They don't work defending your own city. And then reinforcing buff. Those work only in reinforcement of the alliance member's city. Now, the only thing missing from here is in a rally. And those ones are basically going to work anytime a rally is set. So those double up with the marching buffs, the regular buffs, and then you could also get the attacking buffs. So really setting a rally is really strong. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Join the Discord. You could find all sorts of stuff like this. And thanks to the many great contributors to the Evony community who do provide not just the spreadsheets that go with this, like the graphs, but the actual time it takes to test this sort of stuff. So really nice stuff that they do for people. And like, subscribe, leave a comment.